Welcome, everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to our latest weekly edition of our radio podcast. It's episode number 367 with meta. Metamodern is one way of looking at it, definitely, or if you will, postmodern pirate Larry Atchley Jr. We'll get to his bio in just a moment, all the juicy details. In the meantime, remind you that, of course, as always, myself, host of the show, Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, WPRPN.com is the website we'll direct your attention to. Sign up is free. All you need is a username, password, and email. Be sure as well to check out the show description end of things. Lots of great quality URLs and links that'll lead you off in the sort of direction that hopefully will provide you with more details as far as your queries, what it is that you're working on getting a clear sense of exactly, as far as the operations that we have underway here and have been in place now over the past 10 years via Skullport Harbor and beyond. So liking, commenting, sharing, remembering to hit subscription notification buttons, always very much appreciated. Sends a pretty clear message to the overly suppressed algorithms that we have to constantly contend with. Along with this, of course, passing word on to friends, family, and co-workers means a lot to everyone as well. Very powerful stuff. So, having said all that, let's get to the details, shall we? Postmodern pirate Larry Atchley Jr. is once again our guest this week. Episode number 367 of Pirate Radio Podcast. A freelance writer of poetry, fantasy, science fiction, historical fiction, horror, and nonfiction, Larry has been a crew member of Seadog Slam, a pirate poetry performance troupe, since 2014. He's also the owner, operator of Pirate Life, Pirate Places, a company serving as a consultation firm, travel agency, organizer, and promoter of all piratical themed parties and events. Larry is also an active member of the Fort Worth Poetry Society, the Pirate Crew, the Leviathan, International Brotherhood of Rogues, Scoundrels, and Cads, and creative writers group The Fictionaires. He currently lives in Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex with his wife, Allie, stepdaughter, Layla, along with an impressive hoard of books and pirate paraphernalia. So, we couldn't get all of your Facebook links hooked up and tied into the show description end of things, Larry, but we did our best. We have your main Facebook channel, or I guess timeline, as it's known over on Facebook. So on Minds, I think they may call it a timeline. I get the two often confused. But yeah, and your page as well too. Just Larry Atchley Jr. looking really great. Checking out parts of it last night. So, welcome to the show, and thank you to Sonia Galactic as well for helping get this week's guest booked. So, welcome aboard, the two of you.
Thank you very much.
All right. And
yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. In fact, I think we're connecting there with Sonia up in the up in the crow's nest, I believe. Danny is in accord with that. So let's see. We're just working on if we can. Sonia, yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, that's right. So I'm not sure if you managed to get your rum flask topped off or not, but
Oh,
you're making your
of
way up.
course. That's
Oh,
my first
right.
That's my first priority.
How are things looking as you make your way up?
It's pretty smooth sailing.
No
Yep.
sign of the techno kraken.
No, it's clear right now.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I put a spell upon the waters, so we should be good for the entire, ride.
Well, you do that sort of thing. I had no idea you practiced
Yeah.
ritual magic. We'll save that conversation maybe for another time, though. So,
Yes, maybe so.
yeah.
So.
But feel free to, I guess, jump in whenever you like throughout the course of the approximate 90-minute time frame we've allotted for ourselves here. We'll get you guys on camera here momentarily, just kind of flipping back and forth between the slideshow and what Jitsi has to offer. So, and just in case, speaking of Jitsi, people are wondering why we're slightly delayed here this week, we would have been managed to have connected with you earlier, other than the fact that we're having to contend with a few voice over internet protocol related technical problems. So, all right, Larry. Well, you're up. You're in the hot seat, and you're pretty dedicated, and to the point where we'd like to get into your backstory, of course, but how far back can we take it? Have you ever stopped to think that you might have reincarnated, or rather lived a past life as a pirate?
Well, I like to think so. I don't rule out the possibility of past lives. I'm open to all kinds of interpretations with that. I certainly have a lot of passion for pirate history and a lot of what the pirates stood for, as far as their a credo of freedom and having a republic of democratic republic of people that could vote aboard ship on what ultimately would happen to the crew, and they could even vote out the captain and elect a new captain. I'm really into those ideas, and the idea of personal freedom, making your own way, making your own fortune in the world.
Yeah, gotcha. So, you haven't had any past life clear recollections of any kind, or dreams, perhaps, that have resonated along these lines?
Not really. I did have somebody regress me one time to try to locate my past lives, but it didn't delve into anything piratical. And it was so long ago, I can't honestly remember what it actually revealed. But
All right. So, just one time with the hypnotic regression?
yeah, just one time. It was a long time ago. This was back in the early '90s.
Did you have your a significant other or a friend present during this regression, and did you take away a recorded copy of what you had to say?
Unfortunately, I don't have a reported copy. I was there with my first wife, and this was the person who did the regression was somebody who was a mutual friend of ours,
Mm-hmm.
who was very much into a lot of New Age practices and a lot of pagan practices.
Interesting. Um, and how is it that I noticed with the books that you've the Hell series, I guess, books, which would be interesting if we could hear a little bit more about uh, that, of course, and the submissions that you've made to. I mean,
Hmm.
is that what do you, the best that I've managed to come up with is just the. It seems to be this ongoing theme of hell, writers in hell, and pirates in hell, and is it? But
Right.
it's fiction. It's a fiction themed project, correct? So
Right. Yeah. It's kind of science fiction, speculative fiction. Um, the basically the the series was started and created by Janet and Chris Morris back in the 1980s. Is when they first started releasing books in that series, and they had come up with the concept. Um, most of the books are what's considered a shared world anthology series, which means you have multiple writers writing independent stories, but all set within the same world or universe. Um, and sometimes those stories can kind of interlink and overlap. Sometimes they can share characters. Some of them just are standalone, all by themselves. Um, and then in the 80s, they did, as well as in the 21st century, when they rebooted the series, they've done some novels as well that were done by single authors. Um, but basically, the concept of the series is that it's characters that are all based on either real people who are dead and presumably in the series in hell, or mythological characters. So we can borrow from all the different mythologies and all the different religions of the world, and kind of intertwine all these different characters from its history and mythological sources, and have them kind of interact with each other in this multi-universe afterlife, basically.
yeah, so Anton LaVey was the one that stands out in my memory. Can you list a few others that you worked into your tapestry of characters?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Anton LaVey was one of the first characters I came up with, who was in the first story that I had published in the first book in 2011, Lawyers in Hell. Um, but I also included in that first story Guy Fawkes,
Right.
who, if you're not familiar with him, he was the revolutionary in England who tried to blow up the parliament and basically assassinate the king and all of the government so that they could overthrow the government and put a Catholic king on the throne.
Remember the
Um,
5th of November.
exactly, exactly. Um, so I thought, what better character to put in hell? But the character in the story thinks he's been damned to hell wrongly, because in his mind he feels like he should be a Catholic martyr. So it's kind of he's in this situation where he's trying to somehow find some sort of redemption in the afterworld in hell. But I had a bunch of different characters throughout the different stories I was in. I think 6 different volumes, 5 or 6 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the other characters I included were um, Baron von Richthofen, the Red Baron,
Oh yeah,
World War One.
sure.
In my story in Rogues in Hell. Um, several Vikings of notable name, including Ragnar Lodbrok and all of his sons, Leif Erikson and Leif's um, sister Freydis,
She was
Eric's
pretty
daughter, and
badass. What she was like, just she was a seriously violent and psychopathic individual, was she not?
well, I don't know if I would go that far.
Well,
She was definitely a warrior.
yeah, no
Um,
nonsense, no BS, and yeah, you wouldn't want to
so
piss her off.
in in
Yep.
in the sagas, um, when they are in the Vikings had traveled over to North America and they start encountering the natives there. They were being attacked. And, Eric the Red's daughter, Freydis, Leif Eric's sister, she was even pregnant at the time, like heavily pregnant. But all these natives are attacking, and most of the men are like running away and retreating. And she stood her ground and uh, like took this sword and beat the sword against her bare chest and started like yelling and screaming at these natives and scared them away.
That's the way.
So
That's the way it works
that's
sometimes. That's right. The intimidation factor. That's right. Like, who is this crazy beep?
they didn't know what to think about that. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and she was pregnant and visibly pregnant at the time. Did you say?
right, I believe so. Yeah, if I
That's how
remember right.
that's how the sagas have it. At least that's quite something. Amazing. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's back things up then, and then maybe Sonia can jump in. I'm doing a little multitasking here behind the scenes. But I mean, growing up as a kid, what first got you on this path? Uh, the where you had the road to where you had an interest. You were clearly drawn to the world of maybe outlaws and you know uh, piracy, I suppose. Um, Presumably, I mean, there's the whole business, of course, of privateers versus I mean I like to look at myself as a somewhat tongue in cheek, digital freebooter, um,
Right.
basically, in a sense, and maybe you can clearly describe that, probably better defined than I'd ever have a chance of doing, uh, unless I had some, some online information or take on things right in front of me. But yeah, what first got you kind of pursuing this interest and drawn to the world of all things piratical?
Well, I mean, I can't name like one specific instance or like one particular influence. I think it's just a combination of things. You know, most of us growing up as kids, especially in the '80s, like I did, and you know, there were a lot of classic pirate movies that were out. Uh, you know, there were the older movies, like Errol Flynn was in that were from,
Sure.
um, like uh, you know, the old black and white movies. That was stuff that I definitely saw and was influenced by other movies like, Roman Polanski's Pirates, um, that had with the math album in it. Um, and this was all way before, Pirates of the Caribbean, of course.
Yeah.
Um, there were a lot of different movies. The Goonies certainly was an influence. I mean, all the pirate stuff that were there trying to find the treasure uh, of One-Eyed Willie,
I'm sorry.
one of the funniest pirate names.
One-eyed who?
One-Eyed Willie. He was the pirate from the Goonies. Remember the
Oh,
Goonies?
yeah, sure. Not as clearly as you do, though, obviously. So, yeah, and you got to
Yeah.
wonder how it is and why the producers of that show came up with that name. So,
Well,
so
yeah. It's all tongue in
you
cheek,
can
of
read
course.
into it what we
You
like, I
know,
suppose. But sure.
they knew what they were doing
Hey, how about the
when
the
they gave
Corsican
it.
brothers, Cheech and Chong, the Corsican brothers?
Oh, right. I forgot about that one. That's
Uh-huh.
another good one.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
before we carry on any further here, is there any chance do you have a set of headphones?
Um,
You
Not that I would be able to use with my. I'm actually doing this on my phone,
yeah.
so I don't have to plug into the phone.
Because the quality is kind of it's in and out. It's not the worst that we've ever experienced, but Sonia, can you hear that? The way it's sort of it's breaking up a little. It's just the quality's not.
Yeah, I can. And, I think it's partially due to Jitsi, I'm sure.
You're crystal
So
clear.
I would just,
Well, how do I sound on your
yeah,
end?
I would just, you sound good.
Good.
Yeah,
You
for
sound
sure.
crystal
Yeah,
clear.
yeah.
I
So
think
I
it's
would
just
just kind of
it's his
carry on,
device. Well, we're going. Yeah.
because
Although,
it's kind of was like that a little bit last show too. So,
well, with the guest.
But anyway,
Well, I'll tell you with
yes.
because we didn't. Maybe we could have tried to have got his device properly configured down like via the settings. I if you know
Maybe so.
there's options, and I was trying to do that, but then it kind of we got it kind of distracted basically, and
I
there's
have
Mhm.
a,
so
Right.
many
I
things we
have
had in our hands.
a few questions
Sure,
too.
yeah,
So
fire
Okay.
away
whenever,
right now.
can
Yeah,
I?
the
Okay,
floor
cool.
is yours, my
Sweet.
my my
Right now.
lady.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So, you seem like you're kind of an encyclopedia on pirate lore, pretty much. And I know you actually write poetry too. And have you always been into poetry, or is that something that
You do
kind
though,
of came along
obviously.
with the
So,
pirate thing, or how did that work
yeah,
for
and you
you?
got to
Yeah.
wonder how it is and why they. Sorry about this. We're getting a bleed through the Facebook. It's coming in, but
Hmm.
yeah, go ahead. It should be okay now. Yeah, it's fine. I think you got the question.
Okay. Yeah. So the poetry really started for me when I was in middle school. Um, I mean, I'd read some poetry, when I was younger, um,
Sure.
and had been assigned to read poetry during, school classes, of course, like we were. Um,
Right.
but it was either sixth or seventh grade, and I can't remember exactly which year it was. But our our reading class teacher assigned us to write a poem,
Our reading class
uh,
teacher.
and so of course, everybody immediately dreaded that because everybody's like, write a poem, what? But I
Yeah.
was like, hey, that sounds cool. I'll try that, and that's really what kind of began my interest in writing poetry and not just reading it. Um, and I'm sure I don't I don't think I have that poem anymore. Unfortunately, I'm sure it was probably pretty mediocre, being that I was pretty young. But it it sparked something in me,
Yeah.
and I started writing poetry. Just kept writing poetry on my own after that. Especially once I got into high school and really started, trying to express a lot of my emotions through poetry. Kind of using it as a cathartic release and sort of self therapy.
And
Um,
don't forget, as Robin Williams put it in Dead Poets Society too. It's the way the reason that most males you know pursue their poetic talents is it's to woo women.
well, it's funny that you should
You
mention that
can't deny
because,
that.
yeah, and it's funny you mention that because um, I definitely have wooed some women using my poetry.
I would
In fact,
imagine. I would
um,
imagine.
my
Awesome.
second
Awesome.
wife, um,
Second wife. Oh, gee, you started with the first.
the,
Now we're on the second. I hope there's no third involved in the story.
well, I am married to the third wife.
I
So
sense. Why did I sense this?
There you go.
But
so both my second and third wives, I wooed with poetry, and in fact, with my third wife, her and I actually collaborated on writing poetry together. as a kind of like back and forth. Like, I would write one verse, she would write in, the next verse, and alternate, and
Cool.
created this sort of poetic dialogue when we were
Mhm.
first, dating.
That's cool. Yeah.
And so yeah, poetry's still as it was in the classical age. It's a good way to get the chicks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't play a guitar,
Nicely put.
then
Yeah,
poetry's the next best thing, right? So
Jeffy's
Mm.
got the guitar thing going on, so there you go.
Yeah.
right.
I
And
yeah.
I've tried to
Yeah,
play the guitar. I'm just not very good at it. But I'm a lot better at poetry, apparently. So
yeah. The
I've
guitar's
rest
not easy.
I've wrestled with that myself, wondering like, why the hell am I doing this? Or why did I even start out with that? And was it all about the women, really? As it, and the whole thing. I'm just at the point now where stage of my life where if I could just gain greater recognition, acknowledgement as a songwriter, just write really
mhm.
the best possible songs I can, and then people listen and say, that's all right. It might even be
Yeah,
kind of
So,
absolutely.
good, So, anyways, all right. So, more questions from
sorry.
you. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yes, I
Go
do
ahead.
have more questions.
That's
Sorry, didn't mean
okay.
to interrupt.
No, no.
So the next thing actually has something to do with you, and I was wondering what Larry thought about it. And that is your pirate redemption thing that you have going on.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Well,
So,
that no, no. Oh my
yeah,
God. Oh, these are the talking points. And so, yeah. Well, we see Larry. We had a pirate Larry Senior on board here for a number of years. I don't know if you were aware of
Oh,
this or not. And
huh.
he's
Pirate Larry.
some would say he's gone to Davy Jones's locker, but is that the case? I thought that was only with, like, in the sense of the way in the magical community some people are warlocks, oath breakers. That's where that's if you've done a bad job. It's kind of like the Viking tradition. It's Valhalla, right? It's Valhalla, and I guess what the Muslims, what do they have? 37 vessel virgins or whatever the deal is, their heavenly realm. So the blessed martyrs, fulfilling their their required religious duties as they're laid
Right.
out for them. So
Well, I mean, there's a differing of opinion upon that. I mean,
okay.
some people say that um, if that sailors and pirates, when they die, they go to Davy Jones' locker. Especially, if you were buried at sea, obviously you're sinking down into the depths of the ocean. Your body is anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
If we have this corporal spirit that goes goes beyond our mortal physical life, who's to say where that goes? But um, there's another legend that also says that sailors and pirates, by association, because pirates are sailors, if they've lived a good life, they go to Fiddler's Green, which is a paradise.
Oh, okay. So see, this I'd never heard of that. I've heard of Fiddler's Green, the Tragically Hip have a song, in fact. But it
Yeah,
goes by title. I'd like to listen more closely to lyrics. How about, well, tell us more then,
yeah.
if you would.
Well, as some of the songs go that talk about Fiddler's Green, like I said, it's a paradise, and it's a paradise for sailors and seafarers and pirates by measure as well. Um, I'm trying to remember how there's a song called Fiddler's Green, and I'm
Tragically
trying to
Hip.
remember what there's a bunch of people that have done versions of it. It's a
Okay.
traditional song.
Ah.
I don't know who did the original version. I should know that, but I don't off
Yeah,
the top of my head.
the wife,
Um,
the wife here just the other day with the passing of Robert Thurman. He was a Tibetan Buddhist scholar, author, and father of Uma Thurman, but someone that was well known within very well known the Tibetan Buddhist community. He was the first ever Western ordained Tibetan Buddhist monk, ordained by His Holiness. Sonia will love this. His Holiness the Dalai Lama. way back in, I think it was 1962. But so the bamboo forest is what they call it, or well, what Koreans call it. I was asking her, and she was saying that the Koreans have a similar type uh, story, essentially, with its, I guess, in parallel to Fiddler's Green, this bamboo
Hmm.
forest. You just let your
Right.
imagination run wild. And I don't know if you studied NDEs, near-death experiences. There's countless a number of testimonies online via YouTube and elsewhere, and we often like to talk about these sort of things. But and you can
Yeah,
imagine. Oh,
I
great.
have read about
Oh,
about
well, okay.
a lot of near-death
That
experiences.
most are quite
I
positive,
used to
actually.
actually be a paranormal investigator
Oh
about 20 years
yeah,
ago.
we were going to ask you about that
Um,
too, the ghost thing. That's
and
right.
so I
Wow.
was very interested in things like near-death experiences and trying to discover, if this corporal spirits or entities could exist, or if
Mm-hmm.
uh, that kind of thing. That's
Right.
always been something that I'm interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. The veil between the world of the living and what it
Yes,
is
the
that we,
veil.
as we become disembodied. So, and into the astral realm, something that is definitely worth reflecting upon. I guess it boils down to metaphysics, presumably, the way that the
A
universe
little bit.
is structured, essentially, and how we all kind of fit into it. I really do look at it, though, within the context, as best I can understand scientifically, the whole law of karma and reincarnation. They definitely ring true for me. So, now if we're finished with the if you've because I'd like to get more into the paranormal end of things now that you brought it up. So, Sonia, if you don't have anything more that you like to
I just have
press.
one more thing to
Oh,
bring up,
oh, and
and that
don't
is
let me forget. I got
Blackbeard.
something. Yeah,
What's that?
Blackbeard.
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 I was
Oh,
wondering how you feel about Blackbeard. What do you know about this guy, or does he really exist? And what was that all about, do you think? Or do you know?
oh, Blackbeard definitely really existed.
Yeah.
His real name was either Edward Teach or Edward Thatch. We're not exactly
Okay.
sure which, because his name's been presented both ways in historical records. Um, he was a real living person. He was. There's not a lot known about his background. He was from, gosh,
It was the West
I want to
Coast,
say,
Southwest Coast, I believe.
yeah, he was. Yeah, he was from. I can't remember if he was from the West Country of England or if he was or if he was Welsh. I'm drawing a blank on which
I think
right now,
Welsh,
unfortunately.
probably.
Yeah.
And I want to say he was
Intuitively.
Welsh, maybe.
Name if
But
you.
uh,
Yeah. I am
but yeah,
too, actually.
Ditto.
he he before he took on the moniker Blackbeard, he sailed as part of William Jennings and oh gosh, the pirate Benjamin Hornigold in their kind of fleet of pirate crew.
Hmm.
Um, Hornigold had a group of pirates that they called the Flying Gang, which was a whole collective of a bunch of pirates that operated out of Nassau back in the early 1700s, like around like between 1713 and 1718 or so. And he sailed with a number of pirates there, including he was first mate of Benjamin Hornigold. Well, at one point, he ends up going off on his own, and after a lot of pirates from that group of that pirate republic have either taken the king's pardon and retired from piracy, or have been caught and tried and hung for the crime of piracy, or have been killed in battles with various English naval personnel. He decides that the best way to win against everyone else who is opposed to piracy, the best way to try to cheat death is to literally become the devil. And so he takes on the moniker Blackbeard. He would tie cannon fuses in his beard and like stick them under his hat and light them. And when he would go into a fight with somebody who was trying to take their ship, he would light those, and it would create this smoky atmosphere around him, and he lit fuses and everything. And people did think he might be the devil incarnate, and that was his whole plan. Was he wanted to terrify the people that he was preying upon to take their treasure, take their ship, and any English naval personnel he ended up coming across and meeting. He wanted to create terrifying ego, and really by doing that, he made himself one of the most famous pirates in history, if not the most famous.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what other? I mean, did he ever appear in the Black Sails? The series that ran for a couple of years.
Yeah, they did have Blackbeard in some of the Black Sails episodes.
The first Blackbeard. You know who the first Blackbeard was?
Only a few.
The first Blackbeard was a joke, actually. Do you remember that scene? The young cook.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched it.
The young cook who turned out to be. Why am I drawing a blank on this? People can check it out via torrent or otherwise, obviously. But they just kind of initiating him. He had to meet Blackbeard, and he ended up being thrown into the middle of a brothel, basically, with a pretty nice looking lady sprawled out there on the bed waiting for him.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about.
So the joke was on him. That was his Blackbeard. But
right.
I'm kind of wondering if he probably did show up later, because they did use a lot of historical figures, and they tried to some extent incorporate the stories that they were best known for, the escapades and so forth.
Right.
So
yeah. They definitely did, and that was one of the cool things about that series is that they intermixed historical pirates with the fictional pirates from Treasure Island, from the original pirate novel.
And
like Captain Flint, Long John Silver.
That's who he was. That was the cook, right? That was the cook, was John Silver.
John Silver was the cook, yeah.
Yeah.
And now in Treasure Island, when the book, the events of the book are taking place, Captain Flint is already dead. So it's the pirates in Treasure Island that are trying to find Captain Flint's treasure. So Black Sails goes back to before the events of the book Treasure Island, and establishes the backstory of who Captain Flint was, how he obtained the treasure, how it ended up being buried on Treasure Island. So that's actually really cool, because it tells a story about him that we never got to see before.
Yes, a kind of prequel of sorts, maybe. I think
it was basically Black Sails is a prequel to Treasure Island.
Gotcha.
But like I said, it also intermixes historical pirate figures and pirate lore into it as well. It's a brilliant show. It's wonderful. It's very, very dramatic. I love the way they portrayed the characters. The acting is excellent. It was a very high quality production. So you had, everything they did in that was done right, I feel like.
One of the main characters,
Long John Silver's was really tasty too. Sorry, I just had to interject that.
Tasty,
right? Yeah, fish and chips. Yeah,
yes.
Tasty,
and the hush puppies.
Yes, the hush puppies.
Yep. So, one of the characters actually, one of the actors died during, I think it was after the end of the second season, and they subbed someone in. They had him replaced by someone, and I thought it was done quite well actually. So he was like we looked into it, as memory serves, he was a young South African actor who had contracted some rare form of cancer, unfortunately,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, sent to an early demise. Um, but that's the thing, really, is life is it's a common theme here in the show, how tenuous it really is, how fragile, and it's we're all passing through. Basically, we're all just passing through. And if you wanted to, going back to this reincarnation business once again, and I'm not sure if this is an ongoing theme in pirate lore necessarily, or what. But with people, I mean, we are living proof of reincarnation. People often are not that it's a good thing either, because there are higher realms. Then there are higher realms that are higher than this. It has been contested, and it's material, solid, and essentially we're living in hell. What is it that who's it Shakespeare? How did he put it that hell is empty, all the devils are here? I'm not sure what play that was from exactly, but you asked.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah. Um, that's a fair point for a lot of people. Um, obviously we don't know what lies beyond our
Mm-hmm.
mortality.
Uh-huh.
We like to think that there are higher realms that we would go to, whether it's heaven or Fiddler's Green or, um, whatever you believe in. Um, I actually practiced and studied Buddhism for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
And one of the things that, they talk about is that cycle of, it's called samsara, which
Uh-huh.
is the cycle of continuous reincarnation and rebirth
Right.
into this material world.
Right.
And that the only way to break that cycle is to become enlightened. So you have to somehow, um, in Buddhism, there's a lot of different practices that are supposed to help you reach that enlightenment. And that's
Uh-huh.
what Buddhism is really all about, is attaining enlightenment,
Waking
and
up.
trying to break the cycle of samsara of reincarnation so that you
Right.
can ascend to a higher, become a higher being in a higher plane of existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Yeah. Do away with the kleshas. Well, I'm not sure what form of Buddhism you practiced for a couple of years back in the day, but was it Tibetan or Theravadan, or what exactly were you most drawn to?
yeah, it was a branch of Tibetan Buddhism. It's oh gosh, it's been a number of years since
Uh-huh.
I practiced. And
Did you sit and
went to.
meditate? Did you have a meditation group you sat with? Sangha?
Oh yeah. I went to a Buddhist temple
Right.
every weekend,
Oh yeah.
and
Cool.
and would meditate on my own, of course, when I could.
Uh-huh.
And it was gosh, I'm trying to remember. Um,
Were there any scandals? Is there much did you hear much in the way of like corruption, or one thing I'm really noticing a lot, especially within the Tibetan community, is the abuse of power so often that the Rinpoches demonstrate,
right.
that they've been caught, time
Um,
and again, and they're not there's very little accountability, unfortunately, and that's tragic. You know.
well, I mean, anytime you have an organized religion, there's going to be problems because who's organizing it? People. People are
Hmm.
fallible. people can make mistakes. People can be corrupt. People can be greedy or want power over other people. It's just human nature,
Mm,
unfortunately, in a lot of
mm,
cases.
yeah.
And this is why I'm really not in favor of organized religion. I've
Hmm.
been part of various different type of organized religions or faiths over the course of my life, but just in trying to look for answers or kind of find a place where I felt comfortable. Um, but I've kind of come to the conclusion that um, organized religions is not for me. It's great if it works for some people. That's great.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's just not. It just doesn't seem to be my thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't seem to
It,
settle on one particular belief.
Right.
I find good things in all of these different religions,
Sure.
and if I can take little pieces from everything
Yeah.
and kind of make my own spiritual belief, that's basically what I've done.
Yeah.
Um, and just borrow the best of all of those things, and I'm pretty content with that. And for me, I've never felt like I had to go to a place in order to worship a higher being.
Yeah.
For me,
Power.
the best place to give honor or um, respect or belief to a higher power, if it does exist, is to be in nature.
Uh-huh.
hmm
Nature is nature is the world's temple. So
Yeah,
I
it's a
find
great
a
way
lot
to look
of
at it.
solace in being in nature. I love to go like hiking through the woods by myself and just experiencing the solace of this beautiful surrounding and
Hmm.
experiencing the divine through nature.
Right. Have you heard?
So
Yeah. Are you familiar with Missing 411?
that sounds familiar,
Mi-
but I
uh.
don't
Oh
remember
gosh.
what it is exactly.
Why am I drawing a blank on the guy's name? Should not be happy with. Miss it. You can
It's
check it.
that one guy who does that one
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
documentary, Missing
Yeah.
411. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Okay.
Anyways, Missing
It doesn't really
four.
matter what his name is
Not right now,
at
it
this
doesn't,
point.
because you can find him easily
No.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
Missing
If you look that up,
411
you'll
on
be able to
YouTube,
find him.
and
Hmm
Okay.
and it's really bizarre. So I'm saying there is just like he still goes out and as you say, enjoys nature and hiking and camping and whatnot, but he's always sure to. I don't know if he does it alone. Yeah, I think he always carries a firearm or a weapon or something, for self
Well,
defense,
sure.
obviously, and also has like a satellite, like a tracking device or a phone of some sort. So
Hmm.
he takes all the precautions that one would hope in this day and age, in particular, like that if we have at our disposal, that people would make the most of. So, but yeah, maybe you can look him up there, Sonia, while we're trying to get Danny sedated. The fact is that he was, like I said, I think it was during the. I guess maybe he was just as we were going live that he does things on his time and his schedule. There's
Yeah.
nobody
Well,
way
I
like
really do sedate my cat. I don't know if you actually sedate
you
Danny,
give him
but I give
catnip.
Squeaky CBD. No,
Oh,
CBD.
really? All
Yes, I
right.
have to
Oh,
for
like
what he's got
oh,
going on.
oh,
Yeah,
I
he
see.
loves it too. It
Okay.
really helps for sure.
Now I know we're
Zillion%.
just briefly here. We're getting a little off topic, but you mentioned fleas the other day too. Like how does
Yes.
like Danny here has little like chicken skin, chicken
Ah,
skin, the bumps that he's got on his
yep.
skin, and
hmm
it's like, what is going? Are those fleas? Is that what's
hmm
happening there? Or
Well, you would probably be able to physically see the fleas.
I
However,
see.
some cats get dermatitis
Well, yeah,
just naturally. So
he does. So, anyways,
it's a little bit
okay.
of coconut oil should take care of that.
Oh, thank you. So appreciate that. Uh,
Sure.
Back into the
Yeah.
pirate
So for
groove.
the 411 guy, he's the guy who made a documentary because there's so many
Pol-
people missing in
Politis,
the national
Politis,
park.
surname
Oh, is that his name? Okay.
something can't
Well,
Politis.
yeah. So people go missing in national parks like an outrageous amount of folks do apparently.
I've heard about
and
that.
Yeah.
yeah, see, so he noticed that and kind of made a documentary
Yeah,
about it.
and they are really
So
there's something funny going on too. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're not sure if it's like alien abductions or I mean,
That's
and what are those really
that's what it's
anyway?
looking
You know
like
what I
more
mean?
to me and probably a few others if because like Sherlock Holmes.
They're most likely military type of things because alien abductions, if you
Okay, it
ask
could
me,
be
are
maybe
really
military, then you could
related
say
to a
possibly
military thing.
fine.
Sure.
But like Sherlock Holmes, like and maybe Larry's got a better handle on this than myself. Is it reductive or deductive? Maybe reductive logic that once you rule out everything everything else,
Hmm.
whatever remains, no matter how seemingly absurd or impossible, it must contain the answer. It's you got to keep don't be dissuaded. No matter how out of the ordinary it may seem, if everything else has been ruled out, then what you're left with, if
Yeah,
even if it's really out of this world, that
to be
it's
Right.
what else
considered.
could it be?
There are things that we're unaware of, though, in many, I mean, realms and like all kinds of stuff we're
And
totally like oblivious to. I mean, we
could
only
be.
see a
That's
tiny bit
right.
of the light spectrum, so
That's right. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
listen, I'm gonna take a bit of a break and try to. He's headed out to the kitchen now. So this little bugger. How is it the main distinction like between cats and dogs? Dogs, you love them, you feed them, you house them. They think you're a god. Cats, on the other hand, you love them, you house them, you feed them. They know they're the god, kind of deal. So yeah, it's like the little buggers. But I'll tell you something more about that when I get back. Sonia, did you pick up on that link we sent regarding the cats? Because it's a mystery where they've come from what I understand, and it all leads back to
No.
Sumer. It all leads back to Sumer, ties into like Egyptian lore, and even the fact that yes, pirate ships, you need to have those good mousers on board, and maybe Larry can fill us in as to why that's the case. Well, I duck out of here, so I'll be back in just a flash.
This
All right.
guy over here, I tell you what. Anywho, up from the crow's nest, here we go. So if you'd like to talk about the mousters, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you've got a ship, you're going to have rats. There's just no way around it. Um, so there's two ways you can eliminate those rats. You can try to catch them yourself, and
Right.
in some cases, if your fresh food supply gets scarce enough, you might even eat them. If you got
Right. Right.
desperate,
Exactly.
we know that some in times of need, you eat what is available.
Hmm.
And rat fricassee was probably on the menu a lot. Um,
Probably.
but the best way to control rats is to have cats, of course.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but it's funny because we in like pirate stories and pirate lore, we always associate other animals with pirates, parrots, monkeys.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
Right.
you don't
Cats
you
are
don't
not
often,
associated very often that I haven't researched too much, but from what I've ever seen, cats are really not associated with pirates so much.
they're really
So
not.
yeah, that's very interesting.
So, but we know, if you want to be able to control rats on a ship, having cats is a way to do it. Um,
Sure.
but I'd have to delve into some more of some of the nautical and seafaring lore to see how much information refers to ships actively having cats on them for rodent control. There've got to be some accounts of it.
Oh, there must be, for sure.
So it's just that it wasn't really until later in history that they started realizing that the fleas on the rats is what spread the diseases.
Oh, wow. Really
So,
interesting. Imagine that, you know?
um, so I don't know. I don't know that. I know they would have known that having rats around would spread disease, but I don't think during the golden age of piracy, which is roughly between the 1650s and the 1720s, if
Yeah.
they made that, if they knew that fleas were the actual vector that transmitted the diseases.
Culprit.
I'd have to look back through some medical history to figure that one out too.
Right. Yeah. That's very interesting though that you would even mention that. And I don't know why Jaffe wants to talk about fleas, but whatever. Um, so I was so I was kind of interested in like maybe why are parrots so associated with pirates rather than, you know, I mean, say cats or, any other I mean, because when you think about a pirate, you think about the parrot on the shoulder, you know?
Right?
Why is that kind of a thing?
And and some some pirates and even just regular sailors were known to keep parrots as pets. But more importantly, oftentimes they would capture parrots to sell them because you could sell them as an exotic species back in England or Europe, um, and make a lot of money. Um,
Okay.
and if we think about where most of the pirates actually did their business of capturing ships, it was in tropical regions. But,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
they're full of parrots.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, that's true. Well, well, I'd have to delve into that. Et- Etymologically, they're
Yeah.
similar in the way they sound, but the way those words developed or where they came from might be completely different. Um,
Mhm. A
but,
linguist would know for
pirate.
sure.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, something that we were just talking about was that we know that sailors and pirates did keep parrots because they were in the tropics.
Mhm.
Because of the way the trade winds went, and ships coming to and from Europe had to go through the Caribbean in order to sail on the trade winds. That's why most of the pirates were in the Caribbean. And Caribbean's tropical, parrots are tropical, and
Mhm.
they would capture, not only keep them as pets, they would capture them to sell them as exotic pets in Europe and England. Um, yeah, I don't know when. I would suspect that when the first Spanish landed in the New World, they probably saw these exotic, brightly colored birds and captured them, and were the first people to start keeping parrots, selling them to people in the old world in Europe and England. Um, so I mean, I'm sure that's just another way to make money.
Right.
Okay, well, keep that in mind.
No, that doesn't happen. So so it's pirates giving instead of taking kind of thing. That's the pirate redemption. Mhm. Like a Robin Hood type of situation.
Right, right,
Mhm. Yes. Yeah,
right.
what a scoundrel, for sure. Yeah, but we're all programmed when we come in here, so there's a lot of, there's no one to teach us what's what kind of thing. Our parents don't know what's what. That's the problem.
Mm,
They're programmed too. It's a programming over and over and over again, generation after generation. Yeah, like Freddie Mercury. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and you talk about Robin Hood. I've got a
Mm.
link between Robin Hood and pirates. That
Sweet.
I can,
That's fantastic.
yeah. So there was a very highly successful pirate, one of the most successful pirates in history, named Black Sam Bellamy, and he was called the Robin Hood of pirates, the Robin Hood of the seas. And his
Wow.
he referred to his men as like his Robin Hood's men or his merry men, because he saw that what he was doing was he was taking wealth from the upper classes that were beating down the downtrodden, lower class masses, and trying to, basically strike a blow for the common man against the upper class, the wealthy upper classes.
Bloody communist red.
And he even made a supposedly, if this is really true and attributed to him, he even made a speech to that effect to a merchant ship captain,
Huh.
because this merchant ship captain was, berating him for, oh, you're just a villain and you're just, all you're doing is stealing and killing and everything. And Black Sam Bellamy told him, he says, it's true. I do steal, but what I take by my own will and with my own bravery. Whereas you steal from the poor under cover of law.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
he
yeah.
saw himself as kind of a vigilante and a Robin Hood kind of figure.
Sweet.
He,
Wow.
he was also referred to as the Prince of Pirates, was another
Really?
one of his titles.
How about that? I'd like
Yeah.
to.
Wow, that's awesome.
I've heard of Black Sam, but I'm not too
Can
clear
you
on the details, so I'll have to revisit
can you
it.
elaborate a little bit on the cover of law and on his own volition kind of thing you were talking about? I'm not sure what
Right.
that means.
I'd have to find the exact quote because I can never remember exactly how it's quoted. But
Mhm.
basically, his statement was basically, yes, I'm a pirate. I do steal, but I steal, under my own merits and through my own actions and my own bravery.
Mhm.
Putting my own life on the line, basically.
Okay.
Where you wealthy merchants, you steal from the poor, um, under the
Ah, okay.
cover of the common law. Is basically what he's
Okay.
saying.
Taxes,
All these
taxes,
merchants
Okay.
tax.
make
So
money off
yeah,
of
that's
that.
super
Yeah,
vigilante for
right.
sure. Awesome. Thank you
Because
for that.
because Sam Bellamy was a sailor in I can't remember if he was in the merchant uh, on a merchant ship or if he was in the Royal Navy at one time. He may have
Right.
been both.
Yeah.
So he experienced the brutality and violence and unjust uh, conditions that were on those ships because these captains and these officers on the merchant sailing ships and on the Royal Navy ships
Right.
had no compunction about brutally punishing people for even the smallest infractions. You know, they'd lash
Right.
people with the cat of nine
There you
tails
go.
whip for, you know, even the most minor offenses,
Crazy.
and work these sailors sometimes to the death. You know, and give
That's
them.
like a true pirate spirit right there, I think, is
So
that guy.
yeah, so
For
he
sure.
felt like
Rebellion.
he was striking a blow out against that society of the merchants and the Royal Navy and how they treated the common man and the common sailor.
Yeah. See,
Sweet.
that's the
Yeah.
thing is, I'm not sure if I'd like you to elaborate more on how he took on the Robin Hood role essentially, and really did work on giving back to the poor. That would be something. There have been those rare few
I think
down
any
through the
kind of
years.
vigilante kind of does that, really, in whatever,
Pretty Boy Floyd.
wherever they're at,
That's
you
Oh,
one.
know?
That's one character who comes to mind. Pretty Boy Floyd, definitely. Was a good
well,
example. He died. He
to
paid.
be fair, it's not documented that Black Sam Bellamy necessarily distributed the gains that he got from raiding and
Right.
plundering ships and distributed it back to the poor per se, but he was
Right.
redistributing that wealth amongst the pirate community, which all of those people started out as poor sailors for the most part.
Right.
So you could say, yes, he was redistributing wealth and giving it back to, to the poorer classes.
Robin
Um,
Hoodish, for sure.
Now, most of those pirates that sailed under him, did pretty well, and eventually became quite wealthy themselves with their share of what they had gotten.
Was he known to
Um,
be? Sorry for jumping in here, Larry. Was he known to be vicious and bloodthirsty, or as with
no,
Blackbeard? Blackbeard was even an example of someone who could be quite just and level-headed. There were some badass pirates who were just monsters that they had no mercy for anyone. But there were others that would give us your give us your shit. Any wealth you have on board here, it's you can now consider it ours. And if you don't, there's going to be trouble. But if you do, there's a boat for you here, and you can make your way back to shore, and here's your rations, and we'll
Yeah,
right.
go tell the others.
send
Well,
you on your
Beware
way.
of, kind of thing.
Black Sam Bellamy was actually known for being a very just and very merciful pirate. So just like you said, he would basically, when they would take a ship and try to take the cargo, they would basically say, yes, look, just let us have what we want, and and we'll leave you alone. Oftentimes, once they transferred all the cargo to their own ship, if the ship that they had captured wasn't a ship that they needed for their fleet, or if it wasn't something that they could upgrade to a better ship, they would let the rest of the captain and the rest of the crew sail away and just leave them be. And most times that's what he did. Now, the only thing is, you have to understand that most pirates were a democratic organization. So that meant that the crew had to vote on what happened. Now, the only exception to that is in the middle of a battle, the captain has ultimate say over what happens, because
Yes.
you can't stop and take a vote in the middle of a sea
Right.
battle. Okay.
Yes. Right.
But during all other times, the crew would vote on what would occur. So there was an instance when Black Sam Bellamy captured a ship, and I believe it was a French ship, a French merchant ship, and he was going to let the captain go with his ship once they took all of their goods that were valuable. But the crew voted against it for whatever reason, and said that no, we can't let him sail up with his ship. We're going to burn his ship.
With him on it.
Well, not with him on it. They would have put him in a skiff or rowboat and let him sail away or maroon him somewhere. But they wanted to burn the ship. And a lot of it had to do with I think it was because there were a lot of French sailors that were part of Black Sam Bellamy's crew, and they felt like it was a way for them to get back at, the French merchant, ruling for
Wow.
the ill treatment of sailors.
And
So,
this all took place down in the Caribbean, this Brethren of the Coast kind
um,
of culture and
yeah,
context,
a
or
lot of it was in the Caribbean because, again, the trade winds blow through the Caribbean for ships coming, both from Europe and going back to Europe. You have to go through the Caribbean or areas off the coast of the southeast coast of the United States. So Florida, the Carolinas. So most of the piracy that we know of and is documented occurred in those areas, the Caribbean and the eastern coast of the United States. Those were all prime areas for capturing ships coming from Europe and England. Um, Now, there were pirates all over the world, though. So you have to understand that's just one localized area. So, there were pirates in Southeast Asia, Indonesia,
right?
um,
Larry,
a lot of piracy on the East
Africa,
Coast
as
of
per
Africa.
what we're seeing these days with
Yeah,
Somalia and so forth. But hey, you
right.
mentioned
And
it. I was going to take it there but you brought it up. Southeast Asia, China in particular, the most. I mean, people say, oh well, Blackbeard or Sam Bellamy or whoever you can come up with as far as being the most successful in their careers, having garnered the greatest amount of loot, wealth, booty, and we all know what booty is, don't we? Just where that term, where it came from and what it stands for today. It's a couple of things, right? So
sure.
yeah, we got where's me booty? but
Well,
with
and
the most successful pirate in all of history that I am aware of. Do you know who it was? And I'll give you a hint. You mentioned Southeast Asia.
yeah, and I never can get her name right
Madam
exactly, but it was
Z. Is it Madam
Yao
Z?
Zing.
Madam Yi. Yeah, yeah. Zheng
Yeah,
Zheng
and she
Zi.
actually commanded a fleet of
Yeah.
pirate ships.
Red flagged. Was it red flagged or red sailed? Maybe red sailed, by God. Probably hemp. But anyways. But yeah, can you flesh that out a little more for us then, if you would? She was badass.
Well, and also to when you bring up the red flag, so before the skull and crossbones Jolly Roger was a pirate thing, before they adopted that as the flag that basically marked you as a pirate, pirates would fly a red flag, which meant no quarter would be given.
Hmm.
So you will give us your ship and you will give us your goods. We will kill you all. Is basically what it meant, and it was a terror tactic. And pirates, even during the golden age of piracy, even after they started adopting the skull and crossbones, would often still fly the red flag as a sign of no quarter to let who they were attacking know that they meant business. You know, um,
Just for those listening,
but yeah,
Larry, the golden age of piracy, as you mentioned, that was only about 25 years or so, was it not?
well, it was, and it depends on who you talk to. Some people extend that golden age of piracy to about 1650 or 1660, all the way up to about 1720.
Okay.
So it's roughly about a 70-year period in most cases. Um, because that time period also takes into account, other some other pirates, um, like Henry Morgan, who
Right.
was a French buccaneer pirate, or I'm sorry, a Welsh buccaneer pirate, um, who was in the mid to late 1600s
Wasn't he
before a
knighted?
lot of these other
Wasn't
pirates
he
were.
wasn't he knighted? Didn't he become a privateer?
He was, yeah, yeah. The crown gave him a knighthood, and he was Sir Henry Morgan for
Okay.
his efforts in thwarting the Spanish. because he
Yeah.
was extremely successful at attacking, not always necessarily Spanish ships, but Henry Morgan is famous for attacking Spanish cities. He was one of the few pirates that was known for actually attacking and raiding on land and not on the sea.
Yeah, famous
So
sneak
he took,
attack.
uh,
The famous sneak
yeah, and
attack.
he was famous for being able to, do like a sneak attack and put the occupants of those cities, the Spanish, soldiers and things off guard. He sacked cities like Portobello, Maracaibo, Panama, which were all Spanish occupied cities in the New World in Central and South America. And he was very successful at what he did. In fact, he was lieutenant governor of Jamaica at one time as well.
Right. Yeah. Hey, two things that I'd like to have you address. And by the way, we did add her information, Zheng Yi Zhao, or just I call her.
Okay,
Why
thank
do I
you.
call her Madam T all the time? Madam T. She was badass. So she grew up in she was a brothel basically. So she had
Right,
she didn't have the necessarily the most positive image of men from what I can tell. But anyways, her husband mysteriously died out at sea. He was the head of the pirate fleet for a time, and then he just mysteriously died or disappeared. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Kind of like Alexander the Great's, his father's mysterious assassination, and when you stop to ask yourself, cui bono, who benefits, right? The means, um, the means. What is it? The three items: the opportunity, the means, and the motive, essentially. So, but anyways,
right.
so there she was, and yeah, we shared the link with you there in the side chat if you can find it, and it says she was from 1801 to 10, and in 1775 she married a pirate, Zheng Yi. So I guess she took his name at the age of 26, and it goes on from there. But she was like, there's no comparison. Like if she would have made it over to the Caribbean, they would have the Brethren of the Coast would have had to have you know worked together quite quite effectively in order to defend that region, and to drive
Right.
her away, drive her out. So yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because some of the most fierce pirates were women pirates.
Ah, yes.
You also had Grace O'Malley.
I'm
Who
sorry,
was an
who?
Irish, Grace O'Malley.
I never heard of
She was
her.
an Irish pirate. Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
And she was known for being extremely ruthless and very dangerous to deal with. And of course, another famous female pirate, Anne Bonny.
Right.
She was known for being an extremely fierce fighter. When they would try to take ships, or when they were being boarded by the English Navy ships when they were trying to be captured. There's a story that supposedly is true. Anne Bonny and Mary Read were on the ship with Calico Jack Rackham and his crew, and they got attacked by a naval ship. And apparently, most of the other pirates were drunk, and so they couldn't properly fight. And so Anne Bonny and Mary Read were like, basically the only two that were really putting up a really serious fight.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a famous quote that Anne Bonny says to Jack Rackham, who was her lover at the time, said, "If you, what was it? If you, how did it go? if you had fought like a man, you wouldn't have to die like a dog, I think is what the quote was.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And that's actually quite closely uh depicted and portrayed in the Black Sail series, if
Right.
memory serves. That's really I gotta revisit that. The wife and I had we don't have she's Korean, so I don't know if you were aware that I was based or were based out of Korea here as it is, but it's not easy finding common ground, sense and sensibility where you got the things that you both enjoy or that resonate with you.
Right.
So, especially being from not only
Sure.
different genders or sexes, as it were, but cultures and so forth. But yeah, she got into that definitely. So, um, there you go. Hey, so two things: the Lost Templar fleet, and secondly, the pirate political parties. What is going on? I'm sure you're aware of this. So I thought that we could maybe, and when I say we, I meant like WPRPN, but we're open to collaborating with whoever in whatever way possible, potentially. Just make a bit of a ruckus and in a productive and hopefully positive way, drawing attention to some of the issues that maybe aren't getting the sort of attention that they should, and use under that umbrella. Are you familiar with the
Hmm.
pirate? It's a worldwide movement, as from what I can tell. This pirate. They've even got we got a story to tell you. As far as
Okay.
the pirate pay and crypto is concerned. It's maybe we'll talk more off air, but we had a hand in that from the get go, and sort of the people that we were working with uh, just felt that they would thanks for all the fish. It's it was time to move along now, and we'll make great use
Hmm.
of the conversation here and the ideas that you had and the branding and so forth, and that's about the extent of it. So they launched, what was it called now? I think it was called Pirate Pay, and it was only around for a 5 or 6 months, and they had it set up quite nicely, but it just went by the wayside for whatever reason. Maybe because they felt guilty, or the fact that probably not that, but just that they'd stolen everything. Word got out, or who knows. So, but now there is a pirate coin, and um, that's worth revisiting, perhaps at some point, if we can get the right people involved. I would think, but the political party end of things. Surely you've heard of it. Is there anything you can offer on that front? And then the Templar. The whole business, the missing Templar fleet. And I'm not sure we can take it from there. Maybe just wind things down and bid you adieu until we meet again. Which could be, I was thinking, Sonia, if Larry's game, we can have him back on in September for Talk Like a Pirate Day, if that's okay, Larry. If your
Oh
schedule is free,
yeah.
the
Sure.
September 19th, or so, I think it's around the 19th or so. But yeah, do you care to
Yeah. Yeah.
tackle
In there.
those?
19.
Sure, tackle those topics there, if you would.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not really familiar with the pirate political movement, and I
Okay.
guess that's just because I don't. Um, I don't keep close tabs on a lot of political things, other than what may directly affect myself. Um, so I'm not really sure,
Okay.
what that's all about.
Well, something to look into. Just when you have some free time, perhaps, and see what your take on it
Yeah.
is. I've got had a friend who there's a long story. There's a story to that one too, out of Norway, and he was pretty wow. I don't know if you say rabidly right wing or what have you, but you could maybe
Mhm.
peg him in that manner. But his
Right.
thought he thought that, oh yeah, pirates, these rebels and these outlaws, they're gonna have some really great ideas that are proved to be quite really manage to shake up the political status quo. he spent a little bit of time as a member, I guess, in Norway, and just came away after a short time, ending his affiliation, stating that it was just too flaky. I don't know,
Hmm.
left wing, if you will, but just watered down, and too much of the whole woke business, and I don't know, maybe I don't know where you stand on these issues. I'm just saying what he had to offer, the LGBTQ and the left wing part of the political spectrum there, the platform and sort of policies that you find often occurring. So, but which to me is
Hmm.
surprising, that would be, because kind of structured in that sense, you would think that there would be more of a spirit of real, genuine rebellion. But maybe since you don't have much to say on that front, however, pirate radio, because I was thinking about this while making the coffee here this morning in the kitchen, and that's our main thing, along with the cosplay end of things. Although some people, I think, are definitely intimidated. They see the skull and crossbones, and they think, what are these guys out of Yale, or what's going on here? It's like a CIA operation, or But it's like no one group holds a monopoly on the any of this, anything to do with you know especially within the context of where we are now, the meta modern, or I would say not, yeah, I would say meta modern age, really. But you know, there we go. So, but BBC though, you remember
I have
you.
a question.
Well, just to finish off here, just so I make myself clear before I
Okay.
kind of end up you know in another seniors moment type scenario where it's like I have a total brain dump. That BBC and they the way that they set up their offshore radio station uh for a number of years. They're broadcasting rock and roll in the 60s, and who knows what the further content and programming, as it were, that they had to offer. We're not interested in any programming, by the way. That's how pirate we are. It's like, you want to talk like subverting the dominant paradigm. It's programming, definitely not a thing that we do, nor do we seek out followers. So too cultish,
Hmm.
So, but
Right.
yeah, are you up to speed on the whole the UK kind of mid to late '60s phenomenon? I think they made a movie called Pirate Radio, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Um,
And
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of familiar with the pirate radio concept, and
right,
that was a thing here in North America too.
right,
You had people that were operating uh, pirate stations that were not sanctioned, that were not subject to the FAA laws and rules, that just did their own thing, played whatever they want, said whatever they want. Um, and they would, they'd basically set up an antenna somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and
yeah.
boost the signal as far as they could. Um,
Yeah.
The authorities were not none too pleased either. The government was did all they could to shut them down as well.
yeah, oh
Correct.
yeah, of course,
Kind of like what
because
they're
the
trying to
government is always
do with
controlling
us.
things.
Go
When they
ahead.
can't control something, they get upset.
Right. That's right. Yeah, everything is under control. Correct. That's right. Right down to the last little nanoparticulate. That's how insane these people are. You know, the
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Elon
call those
Musk.
folks the government so much, though.
Sorry, Sonia. Go ahead.
I was just saying I probably wouldn't call those guys so much the government as the
Mega
other dudes
corporations.
that are like above
Well,
the government.
it's
Yeah,
a
pretty
techno
much. Yeah.
kraken, man. Beware the
That's
techno
too. Yeah.
kraken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Lost Templar fleet, and then anything else that Sonya can come up with. We haven't had. I've not been able. We didn't get Telegram up and running, and we've had issues with platforms. There's more that we could it's been an ongoing struggle. Speaking of pirate radio live stream and the way we've been deplatformed, and then able to get back online, and it's just total tug of war. So YouTube is the worst, really, with the strikes that are constantly being issued. We could have that happen here for this show. Just and they will never tell you why. They'll never tell you why.
Mm.
Not a single thing. So, but
Well,
yeah, the Templar fleet. You got to know a thing or two about that. And then let's not forget about your company. The touring and event enterprise that you have in place. That sounds like a lot of fun. We've got some of the
well,
pictures here in the slideshow. You guys out there in the
hmm
high seas having it's like you parties of
yeah,
like 30
live pirate
people.
places is something that I came up with an idea for, and it originally just started out as an idea for writing a book about places with pirate history.
Hmm.
And my initial idea was, I want to write a book that would be not only a guide to the history of pirates, but also a travel guide. So it
Right.
would tell you
Sweet.
these places that you could go to and explore, stand on the places where, these pirates had their bases at, you know, be on ships and waters where pirates were frequented. Um, and be able to explore the history, but also, okay, this is what this place was like historically, and how pirates tie into this location, but also what this location is like now and what you can do there. So it's going to be kind of a history and travel guide kind of combination. um, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, there's a lot more that I want to do than just write a book. I also want to be able to expand my influence in the pirate community and contribute back to this whole pirate lifestyle. So I had the idea that one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to interview people that are part of the pirate lifestyle, people that either perform as pirates at festivals and events, or people that just love to dress up as pirates and go to these events, um, and document pirate festivals, Renaissance festivals, and all these things where pirates, these modern day pirates are at. But then I also wanted to be able to, add to that entertainment. So be able to throw pirate themed parties, or not, a lot of times people think of pirate themed parties as being something for kids, but adults love pirate themed stuff too, right? So,
Sure.
what I can do is I could not only provide the entertainment for myself being a pirate persona and performing at these parties, and also bring in other people I know in the pirate performing community, to add to that, have more pirates and performing there, and where we could do pirate poetry, pirate songs, pirate jokes, all these
Pirate
different things, and
pirate
just continue
plays.
to,
Pirate improv.
yeah,
Yeah.
plays and stuff.
Right. Right.
But the other thing is that I want to create an actual environment that's piratical. So, a lot of that is setting up a lot of props and a lot of things like, pirate chests, rum barrels, wine barrels, all kinds
Hmm.
of, wine and rum bottles,
Buxom broads.
having the pirate flags. Oh yeah, pirate pirate winches and pirate
Wenches.
lady pirates. Um, all that's part of the environment.
Yep. Yep.
And just creating, where I could actually go. I could either invite people to a location and set up those things at that location, or I could go to their location and set up
Mhm.
all of those things and create this pirate environment. Create
That's
like
so cool.
a pirate camp or a pirate grotto, and and really immerse people in that pirate environment and pirate
Yeah.
life. And the other thing I want to be able to do is, help with organizing pirate events, even things like pirate reenactments, where people want to do
Mhm.
things that are more true to the historical record of what pirates and sailors during the golden age of piracy, or other eras, were like. And
Mhm.
to be a consultant for, movie and TV producers or people that are writing, historical pirate novels, if they need somebody to talk to make sure their book or their show or their movie
Mhm.
has that authenticity, that authentic pirate feel, and
Right.
is tapping into the right, the right things, how, if they want to get it as close to historically accurate as possible. I can be a consultant with regard to those things too. So this business really
That's a
has a
big
lot of
deal.
different facets
A lot of
to it.
opportunity, lot of angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes it takes a village. It's like a pirate village. I was gonna say safe space, but I guess you could with tongue firmly in cheek. I mean, who the hell would ever expect
Well,
a
and
pirate
you're
safe
right. It
space?
does take it literally takes in our case a pirate crew.
That's right.
So the great thing is I've been part of this, formally been part of this pirate community since 2014 when I first started performing
Right.
as a pirate poet with the Seadog Slam, with
Sweet.
guys who founded that group like Steve Sanders, who is our quartermaster, Black Bead, the pirate without the R, and other guys like Kevin Perkins, who is Ray, our ship's carpenter, um, Scott Goodrich, also known as Mayhem, the master gunner. All these guys that established the Seadog Slam before I even joined, and another guy who Scott Goodrich, who went by the pirate name as Dr. Harmonious Scott,
Mm-hmm.
our spiritual advisor, tongue in cheek, because his spiritual advising usually involved drinking liquor and providing liquor.
Those are spirits,
Scott,
and that's spirits. That's
yeah,
right.
and
Right.
he,
There you go.
and he sadly passed away recently, so we've lost a member of our Seadog Slam crew. He was one of the founding members.
Was it a sudden
Wow.
passing, or a drawn out
It,
illness, or something?
he's had a lot of health problems for a number of years, so it wasn't. Let's say we knew he was not long for this world, but when he did pass, none of us knew he was that close to passing at the time. So it was sudden.
Could it have been alcohol related by any chance?
Unexpected.
Sorry,
So
come again.
um, it was sudden, but it was not entirely unexpected.
Well,
I'll just put it that way.
and the question, and
So,
hopefully not too obtrusive, but could it have been possibly alcohol related in any way, or was he someone who submitted to the experimental COVID kill shots?
no, actually, he had stopped drinking copious amounts of alcohol years ago
Okay.
when he was diagnosed with diabetes.
Yikes.
And that plus some other health issues were basically what did him in. So, through no fault of his own, he definitely was trying to, he was undergoing treatment for various things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even the full extent of a lot of the health issues he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the diabetes was a big part of it.
Did you have did you hold a service for him?
We have not actually held a memorial service for him because of his family's wishes. They did not want to hold a service. Now we have still talked about doing something as a private ceremony.
Sure.
And that just we haven't been able to organize that yet.
Just family Jehovah's Witnesses? Why would they not want
What's that?
I'm sorry, is his family Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, I don't think so. It just had to. I think it had to do with
Personal
other
reasons.
things. I'm not sure. I think they may have done something just like very privately within their own family and not including other people.
Okay.
But we weren't really privy to all of that information.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we have talked about, Steve Sanders, who's one of the other founding members, and I discussed us doing a memorial book of poetry.
Yep.
That would include Scott's his own poems, plus we would all write poems about him and in honor of him,
Yes.
and publish that as an anthology.
Beautiful.
So that's something that I'm sure will happen at some point. We just have to organize it.
Well, lead the way. Start with a haiku.
But,
show everyone what
you
you've
know,
got.
basically what I was kind of leading into is that because I've been involved in the pirate community for over a decade,
Right.
and I'm actively, always reaching out to others in the community and connecting with others, whether that's on social media or at festivals or events. I know a lot of people in the pirate community, and I know a lot of people that I can draw upon to include in my business venture.
That's
So, if I needed to find, a handful of pirates to go to a show, I know who to go to. If I need to tap somebody's knowledge of pirate history that's even more extensive than my own, or somebody who's more familiar with things like black powder weapons like flintlock pistols and cannons and things that pirates and sailors really used in the golden age of piracy, I know the people to go to who not only have the knowledge but actually have the weapons.
Yeah.
So, that's that whole part of networking with all these people in the pirate community,
Cool.
it's definitely not something I could do on my own. I definitely have to draw upon the greater pirate community in order to pull off this kind of venture. So
it takes a quality crew, I guess, is maybe one way of putting it. Yeah, like a quality crew of people that are committed to the cause. The way we've envisioned our project here is just everyone coming to the table and contributing, either however little or how much that they choose to, in whatever way that they find themselves talented, really, or inclined. Right? Not everybody has the same skills and abilities and knowledge base, as you say. So just it's really as simple as that, and just everyone doing their part, even in a small way. So,
and definitely certain people specialize in certain areas. I know people that are part of musical pirate groups, and that's their thing. That's what they do. They do pirate music. And they're
the Bilge. Was it the Bilge Rats or Bilge?
The Bilge Pumps.
The Bilge Pumps. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
They've been around for years. They're based here in North Texas, same area I'm in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes.
They're a great group. There's another group of performers called the Singing Serpents.
Oh God.
Who have only been around a couple of years, but have really made their mark in the pirate community and the performance community.
Wow.
And they're a great bunch of folks. I really love hearing them perform and even just hanging out with them.
Sure.
Hey,
are you familiar with this? Do you know this? There's so many songs, of course, but Stan Rogers and Barrett's Privateers. This is kind of standard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they definitely set the standard for a lot of that pirate and seafaring music.
Yeah.
And people are still singing their songs today.
Up in Nova Scotia, Halifax. Right?
Yeah.
Up in Halifax. And that's another kind of question with as you said earlier, as you alluded to, like the activity and on land is another that's a whole world in itself, separate from this seafaring communities and the history and culture and so forth. But so Halifax seemed to have played a big part in well, and I tell you, back in the day, in the golden age, as it were, the late what would that be, 17th century, early 18th century, essentially, right? All the way down the Carolinas, of course, and Florida. You know more than me. I'm just kind of giving a rough sketch, kind of imagery, but the Caribbean, Brethren of the Coast, once again. And I'm just wondering, though, all the way up, like the Gulf of Mexico, probably something going on down there historically. But what about Texas itself? Absolutely. Where you are, it's a little different there, I guess, isn't it?
So So, and it's interesting you bring that up because that's something that I should have thought to mention myself. Even is the Gulf Coast is rich in pirate history.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a famous French pirate named Jean Lafitte.
Right.
He and his brother Pierre Lafitte were partners, and they were for a number of years based in New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
and the areas around New Orleans. And they actually set up a base of operations there.
Yeah.
And they also they would have headquarters in New Orleans itself. There's a famous bar in New Orleans called Beats Blacksmith Shop,
Mm-hmm.
which is rumored to have at one time been his headquarters.
Maybe even haunted. I was thinking you were going to say haunted, but but let me just.
I don't know.
The brothers.
I don't know if they think it's not. But.
Yeah, I'm pulling your wooden leg.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and not the middle one either. Hands off the middle one. But hey, let me just say that Larry, just hear me out on this, because I think it's important to note that the brothers, they had to be partners. They had to be a team. Or you know what that would have made them, of course, right? It would have left them just Lafoot.
Yes, exactly.
You got to have the two together for Lafitte.
and the other aspect is that at one point they basically end up getting kicked out of New Orleans.
Wow.
For various reasons, because they just picked off too many people.
Scallywags.
And they end up setting up base on Galveston Island, which would later on become Texas.
Right.
At the time, it was was not. It was just Mexican territory.
Mm-hmm.
So, Spanish territory. Mexico was still trying to acquire it at the time. So yeah, there's pirate history in Texas too, on Galveston Island, and I've been to the site where his base was purported to have been located, and there's ruins there, but those ruins are from like a house that was built later on, like 40 or so, 50 years later, I think.
Let me ask you this, Larry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you wanted. There's more you want, because so much more that you could flesh out. I'm sure we got limited time. I gave my dad. I was back to Canada for the first time in 18 years, just last July, and I had an extra copy of the Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean. So I for whatever I mistakenly ordered two, and he really liked it. He's a fussy kind of guy when it comes to certain things. But he's like, yeah, that was okay. It was all right. So there's that end of things, which often gets overlooked by the historians, the roles that where you found Jewish pirates, mostly not Ashkenazis, the Sephardic, though, with ties to the Netherlands, I guess, among other places, but very Spain perhaps as well too. I mean, and the question of who was Columbus, a lot of debate surrounding that whole question. So the slave trade, though, the transatlantic slave trade, not that we couldn't say a lot about the Barbary coast as well, too, the Barbary slave trade, North Africa, and the way that is Islamic. The Vikings actually apparently taught the Muslims how to build better boats. Big mistake there. Whoops. Maybe, I guess, is either show us how to build better boats or you're dead. They might have been under some sort of some extreme duress, as it were. So
no, I'm sure it was strictly an economic arrangement.
Well, yeah, or they were being held as they were as slaves, essentially, human chattel, and they were promised, it's like, look, you help us out, we'll give you your freedom. Whether the Muslim overlords, if that was the case, whether they welched or not, is anyone's Yes, I have no idea, but I did read, and how accurate it is, I don't know. But yes, the Vikings, they were top of their game at that time, and just as history, found the bar with the rise of the Barbary Coast, the 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 Redbeard. I think they were Islamic, or Barbarossa, the Barbarossa
Yeah,
brothers. So
right.
and the Ottoman tie in there, I guess, as memory serves. But the transatlantic slave trade, the what they call it, the skin trade, uh, pirates were not adverse to that. Clearly, like they were. How heavily invested were they, as far as you understand? Like
Well,
as compared to the uh, the privateers with their letters of marque. It's like, well, the king said we could do this, so or the queen gave, so
right. So so you had, just like, people are going to differ in their values and their morals and opinions.
sure.
Um, you had pirates that were actively involved in the slave trade. Um, Unfortunately, Jean Lafitte was one of them.
Uh-huh.
In the 1800s, the importation of slaves into North America was outlawed. It was made illegal. Um, the slaves that were already there were still enslaved, but the law was you couldn't bring more people in to enslave. Okay, so they were effectively trying to stop the slave trade from increasing. But there was a, not to put a pun on it, a black market of illegal slave importation. So Jean Lafitte actually and his brother Pierre were part of that. So a little bit of a black mark on them, a dark mark on their record, um, but because they profited off of it, by illegally importing, slaves. But for the most part, a lot of pirates, because pirates, their entire ethos was about freedom and being able to make your own choices, make your own way in the world. They saw slavery as a travesty and as a terrible injustice. And so, oftentimes, when pirates would capture slave ships, or whether it was a mass group of slaves on the slave ships that were coming over from Africa, or if there were just slave servants being kept on board, any of the ships that they captured. Um, Oftentimes they would free those slaves and give them the opportunity to join their crew. And a lot of pirates were known for having freed slaves on their crews. Black Sam Bellamy was one of them. Blackbeard had freed slaves as part of his crew. Um,
Right. Not, but hang
now,
on. Not so much freed, Larry, from what I understand, as they were allowed to join the crew. So if it was that not the case, that they were free to join the crew, that they didn't have to, you know, suffer any severe hardship as
well,
slaves.
but they were given the choice. So now you have to understand, like I referred to earlier, pirate crews were a democratic republic.
Right.
So by freeing these slaves and making them part of the crew, you're not only freeing them from the travesty of enslavement and a life of
Bondage.
turmoil and a short life and mistreatment, but they were also given an equal vote as part of the crew.
Yeah.
So they had more rights than some white free people had, in the fact that they had a vote in what could be decided as part of what the crew would do on board ship.
Yeah.
and and they were made equal members of the crew. They weren't just taken on board and then, like, okay, yeah, we freed you from the slave traders, but now we're going to work you to death just like the slave traders
Yeah.
did. No, it
No.
wasn't like that. They were free. They were free men, free members of the crew.
Uh-huh.
So, um,
Speaking of free,
what?
what is a freebooter exactly? How do you define that term?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different names for pirates. A freebooter is just basically a freelance pirate who would not typically be necessarily be a privateer. They would, be free to take ships of any nation, which is what most pirates did. If you were a privateer, which meant you worked for your government,
Yeah.
you like say if you were an English privateer, you wouldn't be able to take and capture English ships and take their cargo.
Like Captain
That
like
would
Captain Kidd was found guilty of doing, I guess, essentially
exactly,
back
yeah,
in the day.
yeah. Captain Kidd ended up essentially turning. It's interesting because Captain Kidd was originally supposed to be a pirate hunter. They
Yeah.
sent him to the East Indian Ocean to try to capture pirates,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up um, becoming a pirate. And in some accords, that was because of the crew turning against him. But there's different accounts on that.
Yeah,
But
some say he got a raw deal.
right, right. So and I've read a couple of different biographies about Captain William Kidd, and
What was
it's hard to say
yeah?
what really happened.
What was the name of that? It escapes me at the moment. The name of when he was tarred and feathered, and I guess he was hung, or was he left to die? That the cage that they would be hung out in
Oh
as a message to just clearly
well,
anyone
yes.
in.
So
What was the name
so
of that?
after a pirate was hung, so they would be killed by hanging,
Yes.
typically, but their body would be tarred, and so that it would be preserved, and they would be put in these steel cages and hung at the shipyard docks as a warning to all other pirates
Yeah.
that this will be your fate if you turn to piracy. We will catch you. We will try you and execute you, and this is what will happen to you.
What was the name of those steel cages? It escapes me for
Um,
some reason. It's really fat.
yeah, it seems like there is a name for it, but I can't remember
Okay.
what they called it either.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Feel free to transition. There's so much more we could get into, but we could save. There's a lot that if you're gonna be back here with us on Talk Like Pirate Day, we're gonna blow the roof off this place. So we've had, and we would like to touch. We got to touch on the Templar fleet business
Okay.
as well too before you duck on out of here, if that's okay. I'm just gonna give a shout
Sure.
out here to Chris Laterreux, Sonia Morris. That's Sonia Galactic, Nicholas Burbance, Brett Luder, Tessa Cunningham, Joshua Allen Huckle, Mike Fiesel, Cal Solberali. That's a tough name to pronounce. You, of course, Larry. Thanks for the support. Vidali Lotus, no stranger to the show. Ray Cat. All right, Ray Cat. Vincent Nunez. That's Vinny from Brooklyn. Scott D. Smith, our Jungian uh, author friend we had on quite just a couple of weeks ago. He was great. We can't add him as a friend here though. It's a page thing or something, some technicality.
Uh,
But we do have him as a
right.
friend elsewhere. Another one of his profiles. Blake Lopez Jenkins, and finally, hey, of course I'm gonna support my own content or our own content. So, but there we go. This is this scallywag scoundrel. Not quite a bilge-rat, this character here, but maybe a freebooter, a free, fun-loving freebooter. Gotta run with that alliteration from time to time.
Right.
None other than this week's guest, of course, Larry Atchley Jr. So, the missing Templar fleet. You've had to have read a little bit on that, and in fact, it may, I think, to some extent, uh, there, because so much was kept secret. You say maybe Sub Rosa. There was the whole business of why is it not coming to me now? I was going to mention it earlier. Was it Nova Scotia, Louisburg, of course, and the Acadians. There's something to be said for that whole business. But do you know the island? They've had that ongoing milking it for all it's worth. Reality, say that just loosely in air quotes, reality TV series. Uh, the name escapes me. Did you get the mystery of? It's like the buried, hidden. Uh, what they claim is
Oak Island.
Oak Island.
Yes.
Okay, so hey, maybe you can just kind of touch on that briefly, and then we can dive into the Templar fleet business. Is there a connection, perhaps? What do you think?
Well, some people seem to think so, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that this location on Oak Island, the way this this place was set up to supposedly hide this treasure that's there, that may or may not be there. All these different like deadfalls and pit traps and different things that were like so cleverly designed that they thought it's got to be hiding something of extreme value and extreme worth. Um, Now, there was some speculation as to whether or not um, that ties into some of Captain Kidd's treasure as well.
Really?
There's been some speculation about that
How about that?
because he, even though technically most pirates did not bury their treasure, contrary to what we're told in Treasure Island and a
Nor
lot of
walk the
Hollywood.
plank. Did they? The walking the plank business is a bit of a fallacy too, I guess.
That's right. That's a fabrication as well. They didn't make people walk the plank. That was a fabrication from stories and Hollywood.
Walt Disney did.
But Captain Kidd did actually bury some of his treasure, so he is the exception because he was trying to hide it and be able to come back. He thought he'd be able to come back for it later. Well, unfortunately, he got arrested and ended up being tried and hung. So he supposedly buried treasure somewhere off of the coast of New York, and some people think maybe off the coast of some other parts of the eastern seaboard.
Do you believe in the curse? Do you believe in that curse or not? Do you think it's just a whole lot of malarkey? Curse of Oak Island.
Part of me would love to believe that there is really a curse, because that would be so interesting. But more than likely, it's just it could be a modern hoax. Somebody could have contrived this whole thing and built this whole treasure trap and everything. Or it could legitimately be something from antiquity where there really is some valuable treasure buried there. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, the romantic in me would love to say that yes, there's pirate treasure there, or the Templars hid their treasure. Maybe even the Holy Grail is there. Who knows?
All right, the Templar fleet then. 1307, I guess, and Jacques de Molay. We got Rosslyn Chapel, I guess, that appears as part of that whole story. William Sinclair, a actually a relative, distant relative of Captain Long John Sinclair. You've not met him, I guess, have you?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, I see. Okay, so let's see. He might be. He typically spends time up on Dead Man's Bluff. We rarely hear from him. He, speaking of someone who's imbibes in more than their fair share of spirits, it would be Captain Sinclair. But he does listen to every show that we do, and let's see if we're not connecting with him here at this particular moment. But continue with the Templar fleet, if you would. You can call it a day.
And I don't remember a lot of the details specifically to do with the Templar fleet. I just know that one of the things that, from my understanding, is that was purported about the fleet was that it was possible that it contained the Holy Grail, whatever that is, whether it's really a chalice, whether it's actually proof of the bloodline of Jesus Christ, actually having descendants, as some people believe, especially if you're familiar with the Dan Brown books. It's hard to say. And of course, nobody knows where it ended up. And a lot of people have been trying to find proof of it and uncover it for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Much like another ancient religious artifact, the Ark of the Covenant, which we do know actually existed. It's just that it disappeared from history as well.
A lot of people seem to think it's including Graham Hancock. It's still can be found in Ethiopia.
Right. That is one prevalent theory.
Yeah. So, all right. That about does it then, I guess, for this go round one. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. No, I think Captain Sinclair?
Hi, Taffy. I be here, listening into the whole show. It's been quite an affair, all right. Very impressive. This is very colorful. I think a freebooter himself. This camp I would put him in. Most definitely romantic at heart, and many other things. So, quite the guest, and kudos to Sonia Galactic as well.
Well, thank you, Captain Sinclair. Appreciate it.
Well, keep up the good work, Jaffe. Fine amount of content coming as of late. Look forward to more of similar type interviews, items, and the like. Whatever you can manage. Great that you network in the way that you do. It's really something. Independent underground, live streaming, intrepid digital waves.
That's what we do here, Captain. So,
thank you for your acknowledgement, Captain.
12 years so far, Larry. That's quite an accomplishment. So another 12 perhaps in store. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I certainly hope.
What are Renaissance fairs? That's one thing that was on my mind that we haven't heard about too much. Renaissance fairs, performing with your troops. Great venue.
Right.
Okay, that's a great point.
That's a big part of the modern pirate culture is performing at Renaissance fairs, pirate festivals, fantasy festivals, things like that.
Okay, so there's a question from Captain Sinclair. Are we hearing an actual parrot in the background? Is that why Sonia mentioned it, or what? Is that? What do we hear? Is that a cat or a parrot?
Just a kitty.
Oh, that's Squeaky.
It's Squeaky.
Okay, all right. Just any last question then, or words of appreciation, encouragement? What's in your mind, Sonia? How would you like to send Larry off into the wild blue yonder this weekend?
Well, I'd say thanks so much for coming on. I'm very glad that I met you and that this worked out the way it did.
Where did
Super
you meet,
awesome.
Sonia? Where did you meet? What set of circumstances?
Do you want to tell him, Larry?
Oh, you guys were trying to hook up, weren't you? I got it. You dirty dog. And Larry, yeah, and Larry, quite the
You know how
rascal
us
too.
pirates are. You know,
Yeah, no.
in every
There you
port.
go. It was a pirate app, so there you go,
Right?
Okay. Well,
Some kind of yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So now, but you're down now in how far? Let's see now. You must live. Wait a minute. You're both basically Fort
Wait
Worth.
a minute.
So you're within probably an hour
Basically.
of each other.
Yeah. In the same general area.
I hope Sonia meeting Sonia wasn't what contributed to your last divorce.
No.
Oh
No,
my.
absolutely not. No, I've been married to my current wife for almost 10 years. So.
That's great. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Was she the blonde lady that we saw in the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right, it's quite a catch, quite a looker, from what we could tell there.
Well,
So
thank you.
done.
I do my best.
Yeah.
It's the poetry that does it.
Right?
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and
Poetry. Yeah.
and and these roguish good looks apparently too.
That's
so.
right.
Roguish.
Yes.
It's the mustache, Larry. It's the mustache.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So
Gotta be that.
okay. So what can we expect to hear from you that over the coming weeks and months? What will you be publishing and producing? Any live performances scheduled? This is, I guess, Renaissance Fair season. I know it's the summer music festival season, no doubt about that. So, how are things looking on that
Well,
front? And where? And is there any other social media links that you could offer us, perhaps, other than Facebook?
not really any other social media links, unfortunately.
Right.
Stuff I do is on Facebook. I'm trying to expand my social media footprint into other areas, especially with me launching my pirate business. I've got to diversify.
Minds.com, my
You know.
friend, is where we'll would encourage you and to at least to take a look
Okay.
at. We've been active over there for quite some time, and some people are happy with it. Some people are kind of lukewarm on the fence, and just many just if you get a little patience and you see over time things developing and improving every step of the way. So they're censorship free, and we could definitely show you
Mhm.
around a little bit too. So we were just looking. In fact, we were wanting to post today's show in a cosplay group, the Legacy cosplay group. That checking out the numbers today, my God, it's over 10,000 people in the group
Wow.
that we helped to moderate. So I hope that
Mhm.
Sonia and maybe yourself dropping by will talk to the people that run the place over there, and they can, I'm sure, would happily bring you on as moderators if that was acceptable. The only thing that they generally look for is just obvious spam, clearly, and people. There's usually no problems, but extreme things like death threats or child porn, or PE, that sort of stuff that is just
Right.
kind of
Right.
crossing the line. But other than that, it's very laissez-faire, as you would expect, right? It's our
Sure.
approach, at least, very hands-off, laissez-faire. So, but any big public appearances or festivals once
Well,
again, just to...
this is actually kind of for Texas. This is kind of the off season because it's too damn hot
Yeah,
to go to a festival in the middle of summer in Texas.
gotcha.
So we generally take a little break after May is over. The next big thing that I definitely will be involved in addition to coming on your show for International Talk Like a Pirate Day, my Seadog Slam group that I'm with always does an International Talk Like a Pirate Day show somewhere.
Cool.
So in the past couple of years, I've done it at the Grapevine Public Library, and we'll probably either be there or somewhere in a similar location around Dallas Fort Worth. after that, it's kind of, right now I don't have any other performances booked yet, but there's always stuff popping up last minute. So
Publications, books, poetry publications, more in the From Hell series.
the Heroes in Hell series, there is talk of doing at least one more Heroes in Hell volume and possibly more, which I'm gonna try to be involved in getting a story in. When that will happen is anybody's guess, because that's still in early planning stages. I'm always working on different things as far as my ongoing research for the book about pirate places and doing a travel guide for that. I'm still researching that and putting that together.
Excellent.
But no idea when that'll be done. That's kind of a long-term project. Other publications, nothing in the works right now, but stuff's always happening. I get invited to submit for anthologies and stuff at different times, and so we'll see.
Okay, finally,
there's a lot of stuff that could be happening.
Absolutely. So, and finally, a bit of a callback here to the disappearance of the Templar fleet and subsequent rise of modern day piracy in the Western world. How instrumental were Freemasons?
Well, Freemasons, because of number one, they definitely had a respect for freedom and had a respect for being successful and coordinating. One of the things Freemasons did is they were good at networking. They were good at coordinating and coming to the aid of their fellow Freemasons.
Right.
So they created their own kind of community, much like pirates did. Some pirates may very well have been Freemasons. We don't necessarily know for sure. If there were any documented that were or not, there may have been, but that's likely that could have been the case. So there's some different connections I think that are there.
Yeah, that's one reason we'd love to talk to Scott Walter. I don't know if you've heard of him or seen the work that he's done via YouTube and beyond. So he's a Freemason himself, and as was his father, it kind of tends often to run the family. But yeah, he's been doing a lot of work in tracking the Lost Templar fleet and coming across all sorts of interesting, very tantalizing historical tidbits, which have been almost left as clues,
Right.
for people, subsequent generations, for where we currently find ourselves, and for those that will follow. This is one of the reasons I so much love archaeology and the age of apocalypse, as it were, with this great unveiling or uncovering that we're constantly seeing. The Freemasons are big on into light, as a lot of people are, I guess Buddhists and whoever. But why not? Show me the light being unveiled and revealed,
Sure.
throughout the world, as it's after all the time that so much has been hidden, occulted, and covered up. So, but thank you, Larry. It's been a real pleasure. I can see you're sort of slightly fading there. I notice you with your eyes. It's like, God, I can't drag this out how much longer. So, but no, it's like I love your spirit and your commitment to the cause, as it were, and it's
Sure.
it just really is, the sort of thing I'm sure a lot of others will be keen on checking out as well when we get things archived via BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble are the three main places. Facebook, everything is gone after a month, all live streams, and with BoobTube, they're pretty heavy-handed in deleting anything that they take exception to. So,
Right.
so
Well, I really appreciate you and Sonia, having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
And
We'll be in
you know, it just as far as like my any of my next things that are being either published or my next appearances, best thing to do is go to my Facebook, my main profile, Larry Atchley Jr., or Lars Shortshanks, my performer page there for my pirate persona. You know, I generally always try to post if I'm going to be making an appearance somewhere or if I got something new coming out. So either of those two pages, you should be able to find some information. The Seadog Slam page, you know, if I'm doing something with the Seadog Slam, you know, we tend to post on there too, of course.
Right on. Thank you so
That's
much.
right.
Appreciate it.
Both of you have a great weekend, and I guess in the best pirate parlance I can muster, fair tidings.
Hey, yes. May fair winds fill your sails, and may your treasure chests always be full. Arr.
All right. There we go. And just like that, they are gone, and we're gonna cue up the outro here, and take it from there. So, are we going to be back again this coming Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 on the east side? Of course, is 12 noon Thursday here in South Korea. It's anyone's guess. We could very well be. It all just depends on how things play out. This is, it may not be, the height of the Renaissance Fair season in Texas, but I tell you, South Korea, it's great to get out busking whenever the opportunity presents itself. So, and we do have work, just generally speaking, to address as well. And, we got our hands full, basically, like a lot of people out there listening, I'm sure. So, if you appreciate the content that we put together, be sure to like, comment, share, hit subscription, notification buttons, pass word on to your friends, family, and coworkers. Informing them that, hey, this is a pretty groovy little live stream that these folks have got going here with a lot of potential, essentially. So, our PayPal, Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com, Pirate the numeral one radio at protonmail.com. Is also how you can hit us up if you have any show suggestions or guest ideas in mind. So that's something certainly worth considering. We do have more great quality content coming your way, mostly in the form of the news streams and feature shows. We're going to try to stagger things if we can, actually, so that we've got a feature show essentially once every 2 weeks, and similarly with the news. So, we've kind of scaled back a little bit this year, and just really hoping that people will do their part in showing us their support if they appreciate and value what we've done over the past 10 years now, almost as long as Larry himself has been a part of the whole pirate, historical cosplay and performance community. So we're really happy that Sonia was able to introduce him to us. Just a rich resource, human resource, someone with it seems an endless number of stories, anecdotes, info, and truth bombs. So freedom fueled truth bombs, as we like to put it here, down in Skullport Harbor. Having said all this, on behalf of Captain Long John Sinclair and all the rest of the crew via Skullport Harbor, until we meet again via these high, often all too intrepid digital seas, I'm your host, as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, reminding you to keep your ear to the ground and eyes to the sky. Tally-ho!
Aye now, there we be. Having carefully looked over each of our navigation panel instruments,
checking every level, switch, dial, cable, knob, and pulley, by all accounts and indications, we indeed see it's time, once again, to drop anchor inside Mystic Bay.
draw an end to yet another week of World Pirate Radio Live.
Remember,
If you're looking for a little more animated online action,
keep in mind we've likely got yet another great free-flowing Rogues Gallery after show
coming up for the next hour in one of our more premium exclusive and remote digital underground online pirate hideaways. Also, if you yourself have a new,
novel, intriguing, or otherwise underreported idea, unique individual, or pressing item in mind, be sure to either drop us a line directly over on WPRPN.com or fire us a quick email
via Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com.
We're always open to exploring fresh creative suggestions, intriguing guest ideas, cutting-edge discussion topics, and captivating themes.
Remember, WPRPN.com member site subdomain links are also always available.
Great for artists, musicians, podcasters, bloggers, social media personalities,
Or pretty much just any old land lover
looking to boost their online visibility, presence, and reach.
Basic personal profile accounts can be launched for just $60 per year.
Staking your claim now helps not only strengthen you and the network, we're also looking out for the little guy. That's right, folks. As much as half of all WPRPN's profits are redirected right back into the hands of the people who really need it most. Community charity. After all, we are the Robin Hood.
You can further embark on your own personal pirate journey by either liking, sharing,
Commenting on, subscribing to, or just following us via virtually any mainstream social media platform, including Twitter, Facebook,
Gab,
or Minds.com. So don't forget to become engaged. Until we meet again out on the high digital seas, I'm your host as always, the ship's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. Tally-ho.